Welcome back to Automate Live. My name is Jimmy Carroll. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Tech B2B Marketing and co-host of the Manufacturing Matters podcast. And I have the tremendous pleasure of being joined by Andy Zosel, who is the Senior VP and GM of the Intelligent Automation Group at Zebra. That's a mouthful. Andy,
sure is.
Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. So I'd like to start off just by asking what you and Zebra are most excited about right now at Automate.
Yeah, I think Automate's an exciting opportunity for us to show a lot of customers all the advancements we've made. And as you mentioned around intelligent automation, really how do we make automation more intelligent, which can mean a multitude of things, but make it more accessible for our customers, make it more integrated with things like AI, digitization of workflows, IT, and really that convergence of kind of those technologies to help our customers with the challenges that they see in front of them.
So in the last several years, and I know that you've probably heard this a number of times, and you've answered this questions a number of times, but it's worth asking, right? So there's been a number of acquisitions, Adaptive Vision, Matrox, Fetch, and now Photoneo.
Yes.
As the dust settles, like, what's the mission statement? What's the goal of Zebra going forward for the Intelligent Automation Group?
Yeah, great question. So, our opportunity with our customers has been always along the last 55 years has been to digitize workflows, to help our customers make that transformation from paper-based to more digital type workflows, more of the IT side of the business. And as we move and help our customers with the OT and the automation, our customers asked for technologies that will help them to automate some of those key tasks. And so that's really been the genesis behind a lot of these acquisitions, looking at things like machine vision, robotics, even investments we've made organically around RFID and other systems to help with that automation. So all in the context of helping our customers kind of digitize and then automate those workflows.
Sure. Yeah. As you walk the show floor, you see a lot of different companies that offer 3D imaging, AI, robotics, AMRs, cameras, barcode reading, OCR, all these technologies that Zebra now offers, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to choosing a vendor for an end customer, like what sets Zebra apart in your eyes?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, we have an excellent portfolio of technology. We have a lot of capabilities as a provider, but I think what really sets us apart is our focus on our customers as well as on the team, both our partners as well as our internal team to execute on those. And we really like to partner with our customers and integration partners or whatever to give them the best technology, right? We're not focused on selling a machine vision system when an RFID system might be the best solution. We're not focused on selling a AMR when it might be better for them just simply to put a wearable or a handheld in the hands of their worker and let them do the task more efficiently. So we have kind of that customer first mindset, first and foremost. We're a technology company. Certainly we love the technology. We have an amazing technology, but really for providing that partnership with our customers and with our partners in the ecosystem to give our customers that best solution for their application.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And you touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want to ask about it. Industrial automation systems continue to advance as customer needs evolve and increase, right? Needs for higher speeds, higher precision automation, and you have made some investments in your own technology. What are some key examples of advancements that Zebra has made in their technologies that are maybe opening new doors to manufacturing, warehousing spaces?
Yeah, so we've made advancements in all of those technologies that I mentioned. Robotics, we continue to evolve our robotics and AMR systems to make them more compatible with the environments that they're going into, whether it's being able to navigate in a complex environment more efficiently or being able to utilize carts that are existing and be able to attach those carts and kind of more accessible type automation. We've done things, as you mentioned, around machine vision with 3D as well as AI investments there. But those investments have been around how does the system work better within the customer's environment? How do we make a robot that's already there more efficient, more reliable by giving it kind of that three-dimensional vision, which is really where Photoneo helps with that vision guided of robots. And then even in areas like RFID, which have been around for quite a while, we've continued to innovate around how do you not only see that something is in a certain location, but that it moves from one location to the next, automatically transfer that data, connect it to the ERP system, and be able to kind of efficiently automate a step, take that cognitive load off of our customer to have to put that into a system or whatever and just automatically do it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Zebra's really interesting to me because like, if you think of the warehouse of today, right? Like
Yeah.
you mentioned RFID and Zebra is a company that, maybe in the past decades ago, made its heyday from mobile computing and RFID.
Mm-hmm.
And these technologies were already in warehouses, but now it's like you kind of setting out, or you're almost there, right? Where you're able to kind of automate the processes from end to end.
Yeah. Yeah. And we haven't talked about AI yet. Of course, that's a really exciting area as well. But AI needs that IoT data. RFID is just one of many IoT, Internet of Things data streams that takes that kind of physical layer and brings it up to the digital layer. And then once you have all that information in the digital layer, then you can do some really clever things, of course, with automation, but also in the physical space, but also kind of that decision automation, things like checking a part out automatically so the customer doesn't have to go in and do that manually. All happens seamlessly behind the scenes in the digital infrastructure.
Mm. There's this kind of ongoing theme of automation in a lot of ways is only just beginning. Now the technologies have existed for a long time, right? But the sentiment that was being put out there around the time of the A3 Business Forum in January was, in a lot of ways we're only just beginning.
Yeah.
In terms of it being ripe for growth in certain areas, I look toward small to medium-sized enterprise. Mm-hmm. What are some ways that you see, not just for Zebra, but for the entire industrial automation space?
Yeah.
How can automation grow further into the small and medium-sized enterprises?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, our theory is that it's really hard to automate something when you don't know what's happening in your environment. So the first step has always been, for Zebra at least, to digitize, to get more of your items visible, more of your processes, understand kind of that workflow. It could be as simple as conventional barcode reading, it could be RFID, it could be machine vision that is visualizing, but getting that contextual awareness of what's happening in an environment is really the first step. And as we help small businesses and medium-sized enterprises get to that kind of contextual awareness, then they know where the choke points are. They know where they're spending a lot of their time and money and effort, and then they can efficiently apply automation. And automation traditionally was a very big investment. I think more and more there's incremental investment that you can make to kind of solve specific islands of automation in those choke points, and then expand it to a greater degree across those enterprises. So it's something that traditionally was exclusive to large enterprise has really been more accessible to smaller enterprise in that regard.
Well, you mentioned AI, and of course, you knew I was going to ask about AI. So it's a really popular topic, obviously, not just here in the industrial automation space, within the A3 ecosystem, if you will, but in the general public, right? AI's large language models are a very popular topic. They're improving over time, and for Zebra, when you talk about AI within the walls of the office, what's it mean to you?
Yeah, good question. I think there's a lot of talk about where and how we can use it internally for our own development, but more importantly for our customers, and to really help them on their journey that I was just talking about, from digitizing to automating to really become efficient at their operations. And I think for us, there's several different ways that you can use AI. One is to augment the worker, so as a companion. So as you mentioned earlier, Zebra has very strong enterprise-grade mobile devices, wearables, et cetera, that augment our customers and help. We introduced at the retail show earlier this year something called Zebra Companion, helps them kind of know next best step. They can ask questions so that the new associate has got just as much experience at their fingertips as someone who's been in the business for 20 plus years. They have all the SOPs and everything, all the standard operating procedures into the LLM. So they have bespoke kind of systems for helping that associate. So taking that into the retail associate, taking it into the warehouse, taking it into the manufacturing environment, kind of that companion piece is one piece of it. We talked a little bit earlier about some of the advancements around AI and machine vision, things like machine learning, deep learning, the capabilities that brings to make the products just that much more capable to, instantly read text without having to be trained and those type of things. There's a lot you can do with generative AI around making a complex system much easier to set up. Something that, again, a 20-year machine vision veteran would take, 6 days to set up and set all the settings for. Maybe we can shorten that to a day and a half and use someone that doesn't have to have as much, depth of knowledge or have to read the manual cover to cover. The system can ingest that. But I think it really comes down to, in the context of the environment, what is the data set that you can ingest to drive the LLM or drive the model that they can support either the person or in some cases maybe even the automation. It could be physical or digital automation. So you've got then you start to talk about the world of agentic AI, right? And allowing the AI to make decisions once it has the baseline data set to say, okay, really, it's okay for me to take it out of this part of inventory and put it in this part of inventory because I know, well, based on the context, that that's the right thing to do from an agentic AI perspective. So a lot of that still starts with the fundamental of visibility, data, and having that context.
You think of AI, a term that comes up a lot is flexibility, and logistics facilities and manufacturers and businesses of all types have an increasing need for flexibility.
Yeah.
And AI seems to open the doors in a lot of ways for more flexible and sort of ease of use,
Yeah.
And you mentioned like the example of barcode reading, and I know that from being familiar with Zebra's technology that you have this DL OCR tool that makes the process of barcode reading a lot easier.
Yeah.
And just about thinking about that in general and other ways that Zebra is implementing AI, what are some ways that you guys are pushing ease of use?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, a lot of easy use is about just giving visibility to when you're setting up a system, what the next step of setting up that system is, giving visibility to where you should deploy the automation, as we talked about earlier, giving visibility to kind of the analytics after the fact to understand that it's working properly. So we're really focused on visibility and providing our customers with that across our portfolio, harmonizing user interfaces and whatnot. But then when you bring AI into it, it's another way to ingest that data and augment that visibility, help it to be easier. Like, okay, maybe you want to think about, turning up the speed because you can get more productivity because the 3D camera system is seeing everything quickly, but the robot is too slow to respond. That's something that maybe is a little less intuitive to a person, but an AI system may be able to support with that type of fine-tuning of systems and even deployment of systems that you're talking about.
Kind of a fun AI question for you.
Sure.
If you talk to folks that are maybe outside of the industry, friends, family, whomever, and you tell them that your company is involved in AI, do you ever get people that are afraid of it? And how do you kind of dispel the notion that AI is here to, enslave us or whatever the movies might want to tell you?
Yeah. I think it's the way that I look at it. I think, you have to understand history and understand that every technology that's come along has its pros and cons. And it is another tool. It's a very advanced tool. It's a very amazing, capable tool. And yet it still needs to be applied correctly. As we mentioned, it only works off the data that it has. And if you give it the right data and the right context and the right guardrails, it will do a task to an amazing amount of capability and ways that maybe you or I wouldn't even think of to start with, but at least you set those guardrails. So I think, things like transparent AI, deterministic AI, AI that creates a solution, but then has a validation step beyond it so that you know what it's doing. So you're not just completely giving all the power over to the system, are ways that we can ensure that the tool is used correctly in the future. I think, with any tool as it comes along, that the appropriate application is always the critical part.
Right.
And it gives us just an amazing opportunity to do more with the tool as we go forward, but within the right parameters and guidelines.
Sure. Do you have any specific predictions in the next couple of years? Or like, for example, I talked to somebody not long ago that said, within 3 years, we think that there'll be a camera in every robot cell. Do you have any really strong feelings about the next couple of years for the industrial automation space?
Yeah, I think that, as you mentioned earlier, in some ways, industrial automation has been around for a long time and has been highly refined. In other ways, there's so many exciting advances, whether it's in the ability to manipulate it with precision, whether it's 3D, hyperspeckle imaging, there's so much. And then you add on that the compute power, the sensor resolution, all these things provide for kind of that next generation of tasks that could be automated and just taking away that dull, dirty, dangerous work from people. I think that's such an exciting opportunity. And I love that we're part of this industry that can do that for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could sit here and ask you a million more questions because I'd love to pick your brain.
Yeah.
But looks like we're running out of time here. So, Andy, I want to thank you again
for
taking your time here today. And if folks want to go see your booth, what's the booth number?
Yeah, so we're just down the aisle here, booth I'd have to check it again. Booth, I think, sorry, you're stumping me with that one. I didn't write it down. I should have written it down. In the 3000 aisle, right in the middle.
You can't miss it.
Look for the zebra booth. Exactly. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate it. We'll pick back up here shortly.